Okay, so I posted an hour-long story yesterday, and I expected people to enjoy it and whatnot. I'm sure like a lot of you were gonna enjoy it, right? But the expectations were definitely exceeded, okay? I mean, I was like, yeah, if you guys want more, like, get it to 3K likes, and it got like 1,000 the first like hour. On top of that, I think every comment was positive, and like everyone just really wanted more. And I was like, okay, damn, all right, I really underestimated y'all. I thought like half of you wanted long videos, and the other half of you wanted just regular 10-minute videos. But it seemed like all of you in that comment section wanted longer. So I guess on that note, I'll keep doing the long ones. As long as you guys keep showing the support you're showing, I will happily keep doing them, because at the end of the day, your guys' feedback is what, keeps me going. If you tell me you hate a video, I'm not going to do that kind of video anymore. If you tell me you love a kind of video, I'll do more of that, So yeah, just keep letting me know. Also, I just woke up. It's like 10:43 a.m. right now. I woke up at like 9:30 or something. Pretty early for Luna standards. If you guys have watched this channel for longer than a day, you know that my sleep schedule is usually fried, but for some reason today it's normal. I give it literally a day. I bet in a day, I'll be like, hey guys, so I just woke up. It's 9 p.m. Anyway, yeah, if I sound like I just woke up, it's because I literally woke up an hour ago and I didn't roll out of bed until like 20 minutes ago. So you'll probably hear my voice go from like morning voice to regular Luna voice throughout the next like hour of this video. That being said, I have another very long video for you guys today. This one's insane. Judging by the title, you can probably guess it's insane. But also, it's just a lot of stuff in one. These like hour-long story videos, like I said in my last video, I break them up into multiple stories because so many things happen that could be their own video, right? But because you guys like the longer ones, I'm just going to say everything and then title it based on the craziest thing that happens in the video, right? Anyway, enjoy the movie, I guess, because that's how long these fucking videos are. And let's get into it. So today's story time / video all starts off back when I was in 7th grade. Yeah, pretty young Luna. Now, don't let my age deceive you. Back then in 7th grade, I was a shithead, okay? I really misbehaved quite a bit. I definitely wasn't the best son, wasn't the best student, wasn't the best person. I definitely was kind of a shithead. And I don't mean I was like going around and like being a terrible person to people, It's not like I was punching random people on the street or something. I just literally was misbehaving a bit, skipping school, skipping class. I would skip school a lot. I remember I'd go to school most days, and I'd go to like my first 2 periods, and then I'd go up to my friends and be like, hey guys, you want to leave? And they'd be like, yeah. And we'd just like go to Dunkin' Donuts or something and skip the rest of the day. And they'd have to like call my mom, and my mom would have to come look for me. And then like at home and stuff, I'd sneak out a lot. So yeah, pretty much the old Luna that you guys all know about already. So yeah, 7th grade I think is when I really like kind of started to be kind of a, misbehaving teenager, maybe a little bit in 6th grade too, but 7th grade is really when it started, I feel like. And this all starts off like any other normal day back then. It was a Friday. I woke up in a pretty good mood because it was a Friday. Something about Fridays just puts me in a good mood. Okay, I don't know why. Even when I'm out of school now, like knowing that it's Friday makes me feel good. Speaking of that, what day is it? Oh my fuck. I'm just kidding. I knew it was Friday already. Happy Friday, by the way. But yeah, back then especially, I was extremely stoked whenever it was Friday because I knew the weekend was here and I could just not have to worry about school for a couple days. So yeah, I got up out of bed, more motivated than usual, took a shower, ate some breakfast. I had quite a bit of time on this morning. I woke up pretty early. Some days I'd get up super early. Some days I literally would wake up with the bus like in my street waiting to pick me up, and I'd have like literally 5 seconds to get dressed and get ready. But yeah, this was one of the good days. So yeah, I got ready, took a shower, ate my breakfast, all that stuff, jumped on the bus, started going to school. And on my bus, especially in the morning, it was usually pretty quiet. But for some reason on this day, everyone was being insane. A lot of my friends rode this bus, so like we would just all sit in the back and just like either listen to music or talk shit. And on this day we were talking shit, just being loud, being obnoxious, talking about who knows. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I remember it was a good time. We were having fun. And we got to school, went into school. Now I was kind of in a bad mood because I had to like, snap back to reality and go to school. So yeah, I went to my locker, got my stuff, went to first period. And in first period, I sat next to this dude. We'll just call him David, okay? David was a mutual friend of one of my best friends, Justin. And if you watch yesterday's story, Justin was in that one too. It's the same dude. So yeah, David and Justin were friends. I didn't know David that well. He was just a mutual friend of Justin's, but we sat next to each other in first period because we had assigned seats during this class. And I sit down and class starts, and for the first like 10, 15 minutes, nothing too out of the ordinary is going on, right? And David looks over at me about 15 minutes in, and he's like, yo, what are you up to tonight? And I was like, nothing. I don't think anything. He's like, you want to hang with me and Justin? We're going to be hanging out tonight. And I was like, yeah, is he cool with that? He's like, I bet he would be. And I was like, oh, all right, bet. Thanks for inviting me, dude. He's like, anytime, man. You're chill as fuck. I was like, thank you. Now, I couldn't just like say yes and then be for sure going. I still had to like go home and ask my parents about it and stuff because I was in 7th grade. They were not just going to let me like leave the house and do whatever I want. So even though I told him yes, I still had to go home and ask. So I was hoping that when I got home later that day, my mom would say yes. Anyway, moving on, the rest of the school day, for the most part, was completely normal. Except there was one thing that happened on this day I do want to talk about, just because it was so wild to me. So on my last period of the day, on this day, my last period was gym. We were all in the gym locker room, right? And I was just changing, getting ready to leave. And this dude walks in, this person that had gym with us as well. We'll just call him Kelvin, okay? Kelvin was in my gym class. I had never really spoken more than like 2 words to him, but he was a pretty like buff dude, right? Like pretty built. I know he was doing like mixed martial arts and stuff too, because like he talked about it to the gym teacher once. And just someone I wouldn't want to get in a fight with, right? And he walks right up to this other dude in my class, who we'll just call like Jason, okay? And he just throws him into a locker, like just like throws him up against the lockers. And naturally, Jason's like, what the fuck, dude? And Kelvin's like, I heard what you fucking said. And Jason's like, I didn't say shit. And he pushes him back. And before I know it, a full-blown fucking fist fight breaks out in the gym locker room. And me and all my friends are just standing there like, yo, what the hell's going on, man? Like the school day's over. Why is this happening right now? And Kelvin and Jason are like beating on each other. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And like I said earlier, Kelvin's a built dude, and Jason wasn't as built and probably didn't know how to fight as good as like Kelvin could, but they were still definitely doing some damage on each other, right? And naturally, I wanted to break it up because I hate when people fight, but also it's like, yo, if I get in the middle of that, I'm gonna die. Maybe not die, but it wouldn't be fun. Anyway, they end up fighting for like about a minute or two before it finally gets broken up. One of the gym teachers came in the room and like saw it, and they just broke it up because the gym teacher was a bigger dude and he could actually handle breaking them up and the rest of us couldn't. So they get broken up. Luckily, you know, even though they did some damage on each other, no one was like seriously injured. And I remember like at the end of the day after that, I was just like, dude, what the hell? What a way to end the day. Like I was just chilling, enjoying my, you know, thought of going home and playing some video games and maybe hanging out with David and Justin. But then I had to see 2 people beat the shit out of each other out of nowhere. Definitely was not on my my bingo card for the day. Did not expect to see that. What was that boomer ass shit I just said? Wasn't on my bingo card for the day. What the fuck? What am I, 80 years old? I'm leaving that in, bro. That was so corny. It's almost as bad as like unironically saying geez Louise or something. Anyway, back to the story. So after that fight gets broken up, after the day is officially over, I walk to my locker, I grab my backpack, and I start heading towards the bus. And while I'm going towards the bus, I hear 2 people yell my name behind me. And I turn around, and it's Justin and David. And Justin runs up to me. He's like, yo, are you coming over tonight? I heard that David invited you. And I was like, yeah, man, I would love to. Like, if I'm invited, I would definitely try and pull up. He's like, yeah, dude, come through. Like, we're going to go into the woods and, like, have a bonfire. Now, I had never done this with them before. And I was like, what? The woods? Bonfire? Like, what are you talking about? And Justin's like, yeah, man, if you go behind my house and, like, go into those woods that are, like, farther back, if you go deep enough, there's, like, an area where, like, people have fires and stuff. I'm not sure who it belongs to, but we've used it a bunch of times. And I was like, oh, okay. Sounds cool. He's like, all right, cool. So you're coming? I was like, yeah, I got to go home and ask my mom and shit. But, like, I think she'll be okay with it. She likes you. She likes your mom. He's like, all right, cool. So after that, I dap them both up, I go outside, I get on my bus, and I start telling all my friends on the bus about that crazy fight I just saw. And we're just like, you know, all riding home, excited because the weekend's starting and, you know, school's out and things are good, right? Life is good. Well, I get home, I go inside. My mom was not home from work yet, so I had to call her. And I was like, hey, mom, like, can I sleep over at Justin's house tonight? And she was like, I don't know, can you? And I was like, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. And she's like, well, you can if you get your stuff done for the day. Have you done all your stuff? And I was like, what stuff? And she goes, are you serious, Austin? Like, how many times do I have to tell you? And I was like, okay, what is it? And she was like, you got to clean your room. You got to do the laundry. You got to clean the living room floor. You got to Swiffer it. You got to walk the dogs. I'm like, okay. So I hang up with her. I go do all of that very well, might I add. I was in cleaning mode. I did great. I call her back and I was like, okay, I did it. Can I go? She's like, sure. When I get home, I'll make sure you did everything. And as long as it looks good, like, I'll take you. I'm like, awesome. So fast forward like an hour later, I was actually on Xbox with David and Justin, just playing COD. And David was about to leave to go there to Justin's house. And I was still waiting for my mom to come home. And I told them that, I was probably coming. And it was cool, man. Like I said, life was good. So another 30 minutes goes by and my mom gets home and immediately I walked her through all the things I did. And she was like, yeah, this looks really good. Like, good job. Thank you. And then she asked me when I want to leave. And I was like, can we leave in 10 minutes? And she's like, sure. So I run back in my room. I tell Justin, I was like, yo, I'm on my way. And he's like, all right, cool. David just left. I'm like, sweet. So I pack my stuff really quick and I jump in the car with my mom and she starts giving me a ride to Justin's house. And while we're on the way there, she was like, what are you guys going to do? And I was like, probably the same thing we always do. Just hang out at his house, maybe walk to the store, get some food, play some video games, nothing crazy. And she was like, all right, well, stay out of trouble, please. And I was like, don't worry, I will. Little did I know, I was about to get in some of the most trouble I've ever been in my entire life. I had no idea what the night had in store. And I don't think anyone did, to be honest. So we pull up to Justin's house. I get out of the car. My mom gets out of the car. She walks me inside. She says hi to Justin's mom. They chat for a little bit. Me and Justin go downstairs to the basement. David was already down there. And we're all just hanging out down there, listening to music, talking. And a couple minutes later, I hear footsteps coming down the basement stairs. And it's my mom and Justin's mom. And my mom goes, hey, Austin, you didn't tell me you were having a fire tonight. And I was like, oh, I completely forgot. I'm sorry. And she was like, yeah, just be careful, please. Don't try and do anything yourself. Let Justin do it. He usually does this, so let him do it. And I was like, all right, I will. Don't worry. Definitely sounded like my mom didn't trust me around trying to start a fire, which, I can't blame her because, well, you guys have heard about it on this channel. I have quite a few stories about fire and how it's gone wrong. Before I continue, don't play with fire, please. Never, ever play with fire. It is not a toy, okay? Anyway, back to the story. So after that, my mom ends up leaving. She says goodbye to everyone. She leaves. And Justin's mom goes back upstairs with her. And we just start hanging out. Me, David, Justin, we're downstairs. We're playing video games. We're listening to music. We're hanging out, right? And we all get pretty hungry pretty quick. So we decide to leave the house. We go to the store up the street. We told his mom we were leaving. We go to the store that sells sandwiches and pizza and stuff. We go there, eat some food. And while we were there, another fight broke out on this day. We're sitting there, right? And this guy comes in, probably a homeless dude. There was a good amount of homeless people that hung out at this store because the food was good priced. And this guy comes in and he starts demanding a free sandwich from the store clerk. And the dude's like, I'm not giving you a free sandwich. You got to pay for it, man. And the other dude's like, well, you said you'd give me a free one last time we talked. And the store clerk's like, I never said that. I literally have no idea who you're talking about because it wasn't me. And this dude's like, man, fuck you. And he starts trying to go behind the counter and make himself a sandwich. And the clerk's pushing him, right? Getting him out of the fucking behind counter area. And the homeless guy's pushing back and they start throwing hands. And we're the only people in the store, keep in mind, just some kids. So we're not going to try and break it up. Now, luckily the store clerk was, smart and didn't just beat him to oblivion. He just threw a couple punches, got him out of the counter area, and then shoved him out the door and slammed the door and locked it. So the fight didn't last very long. And immediately after he did that, he turned around to us. He's like, guys, I'm so sorry you had to see that. Maniac. And he gets on the phone and he starts calling 911. And I'm just sitting there yo, what is going on today? Do I attract fights or something? And I looked over at Justin and I was like, dude, that's the second fight I've seen today. He's like, shit, dude, you're bad luck. And I was like, I guess so. And then he's like, well, hopefully your bad luck's out for the day. Hopefully, it's only good luck from here on out. And I was like, yeah, man, hopefully. Little did I know, once again, we were about to have a crazy night in store. So after that fight was over and the guy was outside pounding on the door with the door locked and the clerk was on the phone with the police, we had to sit there and wait for the cops to come to get the guy away from the front of the store and essentially put him in cuffs so we could leave. And that's what we did. We ended up leaving after that and we just walked home and we get back to Justin's house. And at this point, the sun's setting. It's pretty much nighttime. And it's time to go out and have that fire. And I was excited, man. I love bonfires. Bonfires are some of my favorite things to do any time of the year because it's just fun sitting around the fire with your friends, toasting marshmallows and shit, making s'mores. Even if you're not doing that, it's still fun to sit around the fire and keep warm and hang out, man. It's just a good time. So I was excited. So we all start getting ready. Justin asked me and David to go grab some more stuff from the kitchen. He told us where it was. We go up there. We're grabbing the stuff. Justin goes upstairs. He goes outside to the back shed. He grabs a little canister of gasoline. And then we go outside with the s'more stuff. And I saw him holding the gas can. And I was like, do you use that to start the fire? He's like, yeah. And I was like, do you always do that? Is your mom cool with it? He's like, yeah, man, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, okay. And I didn't question it. We just wandered into the woods and we went to this like bonfire spot. Now he didn't tell me, but this little like fire pit area, whatever, it was like right next to my old elementary school. Like right there. It wasn't like directly next to it, but it was like probably 20 feet away. Like if you just went into the woods behind my elementary school, the fire pit's right there. And I remember being like, yo, that's like really close to the school. Like, is this not school property? And Justin's like, I mean, it might be, but we've never gotten in trouble and people use this all the time. And I was like, okay. So he had some wood already there, like on the side. I think he put it there earlier in the day or something, or someone else did. I have no idea how it got there. But he starts putting the wood in the fire pit. He puts a little bit of gas on it, lights a match, throws it in there. Fire starts instantly, obviously, because he lit it with gasoline. And we're all just sitting there around the fire, chilling, right? Started off very normal, very calm, very good, right? And about 30 minutes later, we start making s'mores and we're hanging out, right? Fire's still going strong. He keeps adding wood to it and stuff. And about 10 minutes later, the fire starts to die down a little bit. And I see Justin stand up and grab the gas can. Now, adding gas to a live fire is really stupid. Never do that, okay? Never fucking do that. It's dumb. It can backfire so quick. And I said something about it. I was like, yo, don't do that, bro. Like, I've experienced it firsthand. It is not a good idea. And he's like, oh, I do it all the time, bro. Trust me. And he like stands kind of far away and he like throws a little bit of gas on it and he hits it perfectly and the fire goes up and like he doesn't mess it up. But still, like I said, it could go wrong very easily. So I thought that was stupid of him to do, but he puts the can back down, he sits back down, and me and David kind of look at each other like, all right, whatever, right? So after that, we're just chilling around the fire again. About another 30 minutes goes by, right? And it starts to die down again. And Justin's eating a s'more, and he has like marshmallow all over his hands, and he's like, you know, he's not in the mood to stand up. And he goes, yo, Austin, can you add some gas to the fire? And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that, bro. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And then he's like, all right, David, can you? And David's like, I've never done that before. And Justin's like, bro, you literally just put a little bit on there and then put the can down. He's like, all right. So he grabs it, right? And he goes to pour it on the fire and he pours way too much and the flames go really fucking high, like almost in his face. And he jumps backwards and drops the gas can. And when he did that, some of the gas spilled on the edge of the fire pit, on the outer part of the fire pit as well. And it lit a branch with leaves on it on fire right next to the gas can. And of course, this freaked me out because there was fire right next to a gas can, like literally inches away. And it freaked everybody else out too because Justin immediately starts yelling, move it, move it. So I grabbed the branch that was on fire, burned the fuck out of my hand, by the way, and I threw it. I threw it as far as I could away from us because I didn't want to have it light the gas can on fire. Now looking back, that was very stupid of me. Because I could have just put it in the fire, like the fire pit, and it would have just been more firewood. But I threw it, and it landed right on a pile of dry, dead leaves. And that pile of dry, dead leaves was also right next to a bunch of cut down old trees. So immediately, these leaves just go up in flames, right? Big pile of fire. And then that catches the tree trunks on fire. And I turn around and I see David and Justin looking at me like, oh, we're fucked. And let me tell you, we were 125% fucked. This flame spread so quick and so large. Like, it was out of our control within like 10 seconds. Like, we were not gonna be able to put that out by ourselves. We had no water supply, no hose. It's not one of those fires you just stomp out. Like, this was bad. And it was catching all these like dead old tree trunks on fire that were in a pile. And it was spreading to a nearby tree that hung over the elementary school. Like, it was leaning, and the way that it was growing, like, yeah, it hung just over the elementary school roof. And naturally, I'm terrified, and so is everybody else. And David immediately goes, yo, fuck it, let's bail. And he starts running full speed back towards Justin's house. And me and Justin are just stood there watching this fire get bigger and bigger. Essentially just started a forest fire. And we're staring at each other just completely speechless. I did not know what to do. Well, let me correct myself. I knew what to do, but I was scared to do it. Obviously, in this situation, you call 911, you call the fire department. I was terrified because I didn't want to have to call 911 and be like, hey guys, I started a forest fire. It might spread to this school nearby. Can you come help? Like, I didn't want to get thrown in jail. I was terrified, right? And Justin was also terrified, and so was David, because we all had a role in this, you know? Like, Justin brought the gas, David threw the gas on the fire, he dropped the can, it spread to that branch thing, I threw the branch to try and keep it away from the gas, and then this whole thing started. It was like a chain reaction of stupidity, right? So, naturally, we're both standing there completely just stood still, like, not knowing what the fuck to do, and then Justin yells, yo, like, should we just call the cops? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, all right, bet. And I go to pull up on my phone, and it's fucking dead. It's dead, dude. I can't even believe it. Like, I did not know I was that low on battery, but I guess I was. And I was like, yo, my phone's dead. Use yours. And he goes, I don't have mine. I left it at the house. And I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? So now we had to run back through the woods, grab Justin's phone, and then run back through the woods to see how much it spread while we were calling 911. And I'm not gonna lie, that shit spread quite a bit. It was so bad. And at this point, the tree that was like above the school was drooping over, and pieces of branch and leaves falling down that were on fire were landing on the school. And there was this tall grass right next to the school that like leaned right up against the brick that also caught fire and was like leaning up against the brick wall, just, you know, burning it. And I was like, Justin, the fucking school's on fire, man, fuck. And he's like, I'm on the phone with 911, don't worry. And he's telling them about what's going on. Meanwhile, David is just standing there. He came back to the school with us to like see what was going on when we grabbed Justin's phone. And he's just standing there, right, saying nothing. And we just had to stand there and wait. And Justin's just on the phone with 911. And we're standing there watching this fire engulf trees and literally spreading to a school. And we're just like, dude, this is horrible. Like, I literally thought it was over, dude. I thought I was going to jail for a long time after this. Cause like, you know, it's a royally big fuck up, right? So fast forward like 10 minutes or so, the fire department pulls up, like 3 trucks pulled up, a cop car, and immediately the fire department gets to work. They're spraying the grass and the roof of the school, getting that, you know, dealt with. Luckily, that wasn't too big of a fire. It was mainly the tree that was hanging over it and the nearby trees. If I had to count, the biggest fire was the dead tree trunks that were cut down in a pile. That was like the biggest fire. And then there was like 3 or 4 nearby trees that it spread to. So they got the fire near the school and like that was touching the school, you know, out pretty quick. And then they moved their attention to the big one. And they got it dealt with really fast, I will say. Like they were very quick. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, one of the cops walks up to us and he goes, all right, so what happened here, guys? Like, what the hell's going on? Did you guys start this? Because on the phone, Justin didn't say that we started it. He just said, there's a fire at the school and by the woods. And the operator asked him like if he knew how it happened or whatever. And on the phone, he just said no. So when the first responders showed up, they wanted answers, obviously. The cop did at least. And after he asked Justin like if we started it, we all just kind of went silent. Because like we didn't know what to say. I wanted to say like, it was us, because I knew if we lied, they were just going to find out regardless. I mean, there was literally a gas can that literally had David and Justin's fingerprints on it right by the fire pit. By the way, forgot to mention, when the fire was like spreading, we moved that farther away from where the fire was. But it's not like we moved it back to Justin's house, you know? So like it was still there in the woods and they were going to see it and they were going to probably be like, oh, this probably started it. So I didn't want to lie to them, right? But it was too late because David spoke up and he went, no, officer, we didn't start it. We don't know how it started. We just came out here to go for a walk and we saw the fire. And immediately you could see it on both of our faces, me and Justin. We were both like, oh, shit. Like our faces looked like, oh, man, why would you say that? And the cop goes, really? Like you guys had nothing to do with this? And David goes, no, officer. And he goes, okay, so when we look around and we start doing our investigation, we're not going to find anything that ties back to you guys at all. And David goes, no, not at all. And Justin's like, Justin looks so mad, bro. Like he looked pissed. And I'm just like standing there. And the cop goes, where are your guys' parents at? Where do you live? And I was like, I live pretty far from here. I got dropped off to sleep over at his house. And I pointed to Justin. And he looks at Justin. He's like, where do you live, buddy? And Justin goes, just literally back there through those woods. Like literally my house is in walking distance. And the cop goes, all right, well, go get your mom. I want to talk to an adult. And he goes, okay. And he walks back into the woods shitting himself. I could see it on his face because he knew he was about to get caught. Because the minute he got his mom and his mom got out there, she was going to see the absolute carnage that the fucking fire did. And we were the only people that had a fire, so it was going to be our fault, obviously. So she comes out with him, right? Like 10 minutes later, and they walk back to the school area where we're standing. And she goes, "Oh my, what did you guys do?" And the cop goes, "Oh, they did this?" And she goes, "Yeah, they were having a bonfire back here. It must be from them." And the cop looks at David and goes, "I thought you had nothing to do with this, buddy." And David goes, "I'm sorry, I just didn't want to go to jail." And he starts crying. And I'm just standing there like, oh my, like we're fucked, bro. This is so bad. Now at this point, they get the fire completely out, right? Like it's gone. It's just smoke everywhere, but it's fine. It's out. And people from the school start pulling up. Like these two ladies pulled up. One of them was someone I'd never seen before, but the other one was the elementary school principal. I know that because it's the same exact principal that I had when I was there. And when she walked up and they were like talking to the police about what happened and the police were like telling them that it was our fault, the lady looked at me, the principal, and she recognized me. She goes, "I know you. You went here, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yes, I did. My name's Austin." And I said my last name. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, how have you been?" And I was like, "Good, other than tonight." And she goes, what happened? Like, what'd you do?" And I was like, "This was not intentional. I promise. Like, I promise." And I had to essentially explain to this principal that, you know, we weren't trying to intentionally burn down her school. Imagine running into your old principal on the circumstances that you are accidentally lighting her school on fire. Like, horrible way to run into an old principal, especially one that you liked. She was so cool, such a nice, sweet lady. Like, I felt so bad. I felt so fucking bad. But luckily, she was being very nice to us, and she understood it was an accident, even though she was disappointed. And the cop goes, "Yeah, what happened?" And he looked at us. And once again, we all go silent because, like, I didn't know what to say. No one really knew what to say. And the cop goes, "Don't go silent now. Like, come on, someone speak up." And Justin spoke up. Justin was like, "All right, look, we had a bonfire in this little fire pit that's not far from the school in the woods right over there." He pointed to it. And he's like, essentially, I asked my friend here to add gas to the fire, and he didn't do it correctly, and it kind of spilled a little bit, like outside the fire pit, and he dropped it because the flames got really high, and there was this branch that was on fire right next to the gas can, so Austin over here threw the branch, and it spread the fire more, and that's how it started. And like 5 feet away from us was one of the firefighters, like one of the main ones or whatever, and he's like, "You don't add gas to a live fire, like come on, you guys got to know that." And we're all just like, "Yeah, we know." And we just ended up getting like chewed out by the cop and by the fire department and just completely cooked, basically, no pun intended. And I remember like after they got done ranting to us about how stupid that was, the cop looked at all of us and he was like, "You guys are in a lot of trouble. I hope you know that. You're in a lot of trouble." And David goes, "Are we going to juvie?" And the cop goes, "I don't know yet. We'll see." And then I really kind of shit myself. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. Like, we're really about to get in a shit ton of trouble. Like, this is not going to be one of those situations where we get let off because we're kids. Like, we're really about to get, like, treated as adults. This is going to suck. And I remember the cop, the fire department, his mom, Justin's mom, these, like, school faculty members, they're all just staring at us with, like, the most insane disappointment I've ever seen in my life. And I was just like, dude, this is bad. This is so bad. Anyway, after like 20 more minutes of them just kind of like standing around and talking to each other and, you know, doing whatever, right? Cleaning up and stuff like that. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention the fire department took the gas can and they like brought that back to Justin's house or something. I can't remember, but they got rid of it. So we're all standing there and Justin's mom jumps on the phone and starts calling up all of our parents and telling them what we did. And I remember like she called David's mom first and like David's mom, you couldn't really hear anything because, you know, she had the phone up to her ear. And then she called my mom. I could hear my mom yelling at me through the phone, not even on speaker. Keep in mind, we were outside and like there was water getting shot out of hoses and like people talking and stuff. And I could still hear her, not even on speakerphone, yelling at me through Justin's mom's phone. I heard her literally say, "Damn it, Austin, like why? Why would you do that?" And right when she did that, Justin's mom handed me the phone. And she's like, I think your mom wants to talk to you. And I grabbed it and I was like, hi, Mom. And she's like, I'm on my way there right now. I'll talk to you when I'm there. She hangs up. And yeah, she pulled up like 5-10 minutes later. And I got yelled at again by my mom. And it was so shitty, dude. It was just so shitty. I was like, this is so bad. Anyway, after my mom got there and then David's mom got there, all of our moms and the fire department and the police went like farther away from us so we couldn't hear them. And I'm assuming they were talking about the punishment of what was going to happen to us. And me, David, and Justin are just in a circle freaking out because we know that we're about to be told our fate, you know? And about 10 minutes later, just our moms come over to us. And they're like, all right, let's go. Get in the car. I'm like, what? And my mom's like, come on, we're going home. And I was like, I'm going home? Like I'm not going to jail? And she goes, get in the car, Austin. And I was like, okay. So I follow my mom to the car, and David follows his mom to the car, and Justin follows his mom back towards like the house or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? Like, did we really just get away with that? Like, what? And I remember the whole way home, I kept asking my mom, I was like, Mom, like, what'd you talk to the police about? And she's like, nothing. And I was like, it can't be nothing. Like, you were talking to them for a while. And she's like, Austin, they were just talking about like what to do about it. All right. Like, you're a minor. They're not going to throw you in jail. So they were giving me options. I was like, what was the options? Like, what are they going to do to me? And she's like, nothing. How many times do I have to say it? Like, nothing. And I was just being annoying. I was like, well, you just said you were talking about options. Like, what were the options? She's like, why does it matter? We're not doing them. So why does it matter? And I was like, all right, sorry. And she takes me home. She doesn't ground me or anything, doesn't take my Xbox, doesn't take anything. It was scary how little was happening, right? Like, I thought I was about to go home and she was about to light all of my stuff on fire in front of me. Like, I thought she was about to like literally open up my Xbox and pour milk into it. Like, I really did not think I was going to like just get let off the hook like this. And she goes, go to bed. I was like, okay. So I went into my room. I laid down. I put on some Jersey Shore. I was watching some TV on my Xbox. And I get a text message from Justin. And he said, dude, like, I think we got away with that. And I responded. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, bro, my mom didn't ground me or anything. Like, we just went home and she's just disappointed, but I didn't get in trouble. And I was like, bro, same. And he's like, let me ask David what his mom did. And then David said the same thing. So now we're all kind of scared because it's like, dude, this is suspicious. Like, why are we not getting in trouble for literally starting a forest fire and kind of partially lighting a school on fire? Like, this isn't good. Like, this is really bad. What's going on here? Why are we home right now? I'm not saying I wanted to go to jail or anything. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just couldn't believe we weren't in juvie. You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't believe it. So anyway, the rest of that night, I just like watched Jersey Shore and I hung out in my room. I remember my dad called me at one point, like right before I fell asleep, and he asked me like what the hell happened, and we had like a long talk about it, and he essentially was just, you know, telling me I need to like make better decisions and to not ever do that again. And he was just, you know, being my dad, right? And after that, I hung up with him and I fell asleep, right? I fell asleep. And I woke up the next morning to my mom waking me up, and she goes, come on, we got to go. Now, it was Saturday, so I was like, where are we going on a Saturday? Like, what's going on? And she goes, you'll see. And now I knew I was fucked. Now I was like, oh, okay. They had a plan. They had a plan and they weren't telling us about it. Now we are screwed. Like, this is where the punishment begins. And my mom went to Justin's house, picked Justin up, and then went to David's house and picked David up. And we were all in my mom's car driving to some random destination that none of us knew. And I was like, yo, where are we going? And she was like, you'll see. You'll all see. It was so evil, so devious, so like tactical. Like, I couldn't believe it, man. Like, the moms really did good at planning this, right? So we drive for about 20 minutes, right? And we pull into this giant like parking lot of this huge, creepy, gray, just huge building, right? Creepy looking building. And it's like surrounded by a fence that's super tall. Kind of looked like the building from Stranger Things, not gonna lie. It looked like it could be one of three things: a hospital, an old like factory or something, or a prison. And as we got closer and I saw the front, I saw a sign that said blank county jail. And I was like, oh, we're going to jail. Okay, that's what's happening here. Cool. The police were nice enough to let us have one more night at home, and now we're going to jail. Awesome. I remember me, Justin, and David all looked at each other and just started shitting ourselves. Like, we were like, our faces, I wish I had a picture of it. Like, we all looked terrified. I looked at my mom and I was like, are we going to jail? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, what? They let you take us to jail? Why didn't they take us yesterday? And she's like, I don't know, but you're going today. And I was like, what? For how long? And she's like, we'll see. I was like, what do you mean we'll see? Like, they didn't tell you? She's like, no. And I was like, what? And she's like, get out of the car. Come on. And she parks the car and we get out and she walks us to the door. And this like lady opens the door and she's like, oh, hi, like you must be. And she says my mom's name and my mom's talking to her, smiling. And she goes, and you must be Austin. And she points to me and she's like, and you must be David and Justin, right? And they're like, yeah. And she goes, all right, come on in. And she brings us inside. My mom goes, bye guys. And she turns around, she leaves. Just doesn't hug me, doesn't say anything, just leaves, bro. And leaves me with this lady with my friends. And we're just now in the jail building. My mom left. And we're just there with this lady. And I asked her, I was like, what's going on? Like, are we like getting put in jail today? And she's like, kinda, yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, look, what you guys did, I heard about it. Messed up, super messed up. And you can't just get away with it with a slap on the wrist. So your parents signed you up for this. I was like, signed up for what? And essentially, they signed us up for a fucking week-long program where we had to go to prison every day, essentially, and be there from like day till night and like do things that prisoners do. Well, not everything, but everything that you hear about, such as community service, going to the cafeteria, going to a cell, cleaning, doing chores. And then also we had to hang out with the inmates because that was like a part of it. It was essentially like that show, Beyond Scared Straight, if y'all have ever seen that. I don't even know if it's still on or not, where they send kids to like jail and like let them see how horrible it is. That's what it was basically for a week. And let me tell you, that shit was ass. The first day, we spent just kind of like getting a tour of the place and kind of like meeting some people and seeing like how, you know, that was. But the second day is when like I had to do community service and shit. And they like let me essentially meet other prisoners and like they told the prisoners about what we did. Cause when I was out there doing community service, there was this one guy, all right? His name was Lewis. He was terrifying looking. He was like 6'4", super buff, had like a whole ass face tattoo on his left side. It looked like Mike Tyson, dude. It was terrifying. And he walks up to me while I'm doing this fucking community service, like picking up trash on the side of the road. And he goes, are you Austin? And I was like, yeah. How do you know my name? And he goes, I heard about what you did. Lisa told me. And Lisa was the girl that like ran the program. She was the one that said hi to my mom when we walked in on the first day. He goes, yeah, Lisa told me. And I was like, okay, what'd she tell you? He goes, you tried to burn down a school? And I was like, no, I didn't try and burn down a school. He goes, an elementary school? That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. And I like awkwardly laugh. And I was like, I didn't try and burn down a school. And he's like, why are you laughing? You think this shit's funny? You think it's funny? Burning down a school is funny? And he's getting up in my face. And I look over at like the, one of the fucking cops or whatever that's like, you know, guiding us for the community service. And like, I'm looking at him like, yo, get this guy out of here. Like, he's about to beat me up. And the cop just like crosses his arms and watches. And I was like, really, dude? Like, you're not going to help me? And the cop goes, you're fine. I look back over at fucking Lewis and I was like, dude, I didn't try and burn the school down intentionally. It was an accident. He goes, yeah, well, you accidentally almost burned down an elementary school. That's fucked up. And then he said some just insane shit. He must have gone off script. Like, I'm assuming that the police put him up to this or something to try and scare me and make me realize that jail's not a fun place. But like, he must have gone off script for this part. He goes, how would you like it that if when I got out of here, I burn your house down? And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, how would you like that? When I get out of here, I might pay you a visit. And I was like, please don't pay me a visit, Lewis. I would really prefer if you didn't do that. And he gives me this crazy look in his eye and he goes, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And I was like, okay. I looked over at the cop and the cop's still looking at me with his arms crossed. And I was like, what's up with that, man? Did you hear what he just said to me? And the cop's like, no. I'm like, okay. I just went back to doing the community service. By the way, they split us up. So on this day, David and Justin weren't even with me. They were doing something else and they were cleaning or something. So I was alone out there. Like, didn't even have my friends to talk to about it. I was just scared and alone. Anyway, after that day, then we went on to the next day where it was just me cleaning and they were outside doing community service. Yeah, they let them do it together on the next day, but I had to get split up. I don't understand. It was mean. Anyway, yeah, I had to clean that day. And then when lunchtime came around, they let me and David and Justin sit together on this day. Don't know why, don't know what changed, but we got to sit together. And we sat at a table with that Lisa woman, and then there was 2 inmates with us as well, like sitting there. And once again, I think they like put them up to this, but they started pressing us super hard. One of the dudes was just like, "So you guys like being in here? You having fun so far?" And we're like, "No." And he goes, "Yeah, it's not fucking fun. So maybe you should think twice before trying to burn down a school." And once again, I was like, dude, we didn't try and burn down the school. Like, it was an accident. I actually could not believe that there was a rumor spreading around this prison that we tried to burn down the school intentionally. Anyway, I was like, we didn't try and burn it down. It was an accident. And he goes, "Yeah, well, if you play with fire, you get burned." And I was like, yeah, I mean, true. And he's like, "Yeah, so don't do that anymore, or you might just end up one of our cellmates." And I was like, noted. Yes, I will not do that. Don't worry. He's like, "Good." And yeah, after this, I just spent the next few days like going through this, just counting the days where it was over, because it was a week long. It was 7 days. And just like counting the hours to go home and sleep, because that was the only time I got to go home, is at the end of the night, like super late. We got to go home, sleep, and then wake right back up in the morning and go back there. So like literally that 8 hours in my bed was the only like freedom I had, which I guess it's better than sleeping in the prison, but still. So on the last day, right, I made it through the week. It was the last day. After like that third day, nothing too crazy had happened. Like I said, I just went there, I did what I had to do, and I'd go home. There was the occasional like prisoner talking to me that they would have talk to me and kind of try and scare me off the path I was on. But nothing too crazy had happened, right? But on the last day, I got up in the morning, I got ready. Once again, we're all in the car on the way there. And I thought that this day would be the easiest because, like, all right, you know, it's the last day. We're kind of in the swing of things by now. Like, you know, we know what we're doing. Like, we'll just go there. We'll do some cleaning, maybe some community service, eat our lunch at the cafeteria. At some point, we'll probably have to, like, go to a class and get talked to for a little bit by one of, like, the former inmates, because that's what they were doing every day. At some point throughout the day, every day, we'd have to go to a classroom, and there was, like, an hour or two where this guy would come in that was, like, a previous inmate there, and he would, like, speak about how, you know, jail's not cool, and to, like, get off the path that we were on and shit like that. And they'd have, like, actual inmates come in, too, and talk. So I assumed it was just gonna be like any other day, right? And it started off like any other day. We got there, and we went in, and they had me clean at one point, and they had my friends outside doing whatever, I don't know. And then eventually, it was time for that class that I was mentioning, right? And we go in there, we sit down, and they didn't let me and my friends sit together. Jason and David were like split up from me, and they were also split up. So like we were all just on opposite sides of the room. And I was sat next to this random dude. And I'd sat next to him pretty much every day throughout the 7 days with no problem. He was quiet. I was quiet. Nothing crazy, right? We'll just call him Ryan, okay? Well, I don't know what the fuck had gotten into Ryan on this day, but he looked really pissed about something. He looked like upset about some shit. It got to a point where like halfway through class, I was concerned for the dude. I saw tears running down his cheek and like he was crying. So I looked over and I was like, "Yo, man, like, you okay?" Like trying to check up on the dude, you know? I want to make sure he was good. And he looks at me and he goes, "Shut the fuck up, mind your own business." And I was like, "Oh, all right, bro, like my bad." Like, okay. And he goes, "Is something funny? Are you laughing right now?" I was like, "Nah, man, like I wasn't laughing at you. I was awkwardly laughing." And he goes, "Why don't you shut the fuck up? How about that? How about you don't laugh? How about you don't talk? How about you stop looking at me, look at the fucking teacher, and shut the fuck up?" Yeah, clearly Ryan was having a terrible fucking day. I don't know who shit in his Frosted Flakes that morning, but he was clearly having a horrible day. And there was a part of me that wanted to kind of press the issue and be like, "Yo, you're being rude, like you should chill." But also I didn't know what he was in there for. I didn't know why they had him in this program. It could have been something as simple as like he stole from the store, or like maybe he beat up an old lady or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I didn't want to test it because if I shit talk this dude, who knows like what he's going to do, right? I didn't want to get in more trouble than I was already in with my parents and at this program and stuff. So I didn't press the issue. I just ignored him. I looked back at the teacher. And I just started trying to like pay attention and lock in and not talk to this dude at all. Because clearly he was just having a shitty day. Well, then like 10 seconds later, he starts trying to start some shit with me. He looks over at me and he's like, "What kind of weirdo tries to burn down an elementary school? What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I was like, "Bro, why does everyone think I tried to burn down an elementary school? Like, it wasn't intentional. We were having a fire and some shit went down on accident. It was not intentional." And he goes, "Oh, so you accidentally tried to burn down an elementary school." I was like, I didn't try and burn down an elementary school. It just happened on accident. And also, the school's fine. The wall's a little charred up, but it's fine. And he's like, yeah, whatever, dude. And I was like, what the fuck did you do to get in here? How about that? What'd you fucking do? Seems like everyone knows what I did, but no one knows what you did. And I guess I raised my voice a little bit too loud because the dude talking, like the teacher / former inmate or whatever, he was like, Austin, you gotta say something? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. And he goes, all right, please keep it to yourselves. Stop talking. And he goes back to talking, right? And Ryan's smiling at me now. Like he's smiling that I got yelled at or some shit. I don't know. And I just ignored him. I went back to trying to pay attention, trying to lock in. And once again, he tries to start some shit with me. This dude really goes, yeah, you're lucky that teacher's here. Because if he wasn't, we'd be throwing hands. So now he's like trying to say he'd be fighting me if that teacher wasn't there, right? I look back over at him and I was like, bro, no, we wouldn't. Stop lying. And he's like, you think I'm lying? I was like, yeah, because if you want to throw hands, you'd throw hands right now. You wouldn't have someone stop you. He's like, oh yeah, is that so? I was like, yeah. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, prove me wrong then. Prove me wrong. He goes, all right, we'll see. And he just like locked in the rest of class. He just like went back to not saying shit to me and just like sitting there. Now, before I continue, let me just say, I should not have talked the way I did to him at that point. I definitely just like got fed up with it. And I was trying to press the issue and like be a little drama starter. But I shouldn't have did that. I should have just like, kept my mouth shut and just ignored him and just like not gave him any attention. So that's my bad. But anyway, the whole rest of the class goes on without any problems. He doesn't say shit to me. I don't say shit to him. And now I'm wondering, I'm like, what does he mean by like, we'll see? Like, what's about to happen? Is he about to like sneak up on me at some point throughout the day and like stab me with a plastic fork or something? Like, what's about to happen right now? Well, later on that day, lunchtime rolls around. And I sat with David and Justin. They let us sit together at like our own table. And at our table was some other like faculty member or something, one of the people that like worked at the program. And there was like a cop nearby, like a corrections guard or something like nearby watching. And that dude, the one Ryan that I was arguing with earlier, he's at a table like right across from me. And he keeps looking up at me, giving me a death stare, like staring at me. And David and Justin both notice it. And they're like, yo, why does that dude keep staring at you? And I was like, he don't like me very much. And he's like, yeah, you guys were talking during class. Like, what was going on? I was like, bro, he was crying in the middle of class. And I was worried about him. So I asked if like he was okay and like wanted to make sure he was good. And he snapped on me, bro. Like he got mad and like started trying to like fucking press an issue. And I was like, just kind of not in the mood for it. And then David's like, he looks like he wants to fight you, bro. I'm like, yeah, he kind of threatened that. We'll see though. And for the most part, lunch is fine, right? Nothing really happens. It's after lunch where things take a turn. So after lunch on this day, everybody was going outside. We were going outside. I can't remember for what because I didn't get there to do it. We were going outside and we were going down the hallway in a big group, right? And like the faculty members are there and like there's like corrections officers helping us walk out there. And out of nowhere, from behind me, I see an arm go around my neck and another arm go around that arm. And they put me in a fucking chokehold and slam me to the fucking ground, dude. And I turn my head to the left while I'm on the ground and I see none other than Ryan with me in a chokehold. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So I start swinging over like his arms and punching him repeatedly until he lets go of me, which he did. I got loose and we both get up and get like into stance to start fighting. And it was too late. Everyone broke it up, like the faculty members, the officers, whatever. And immediately me and Ryan both got escorted to like this office. And in there was an officer. And then like a minute later, that Lisa woman walked in and she sits down. And she goes, Austin, Ryan, really? You couldn't make it one last day without getting into trouble? And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, he put me in a chokehold. I had to defend myself. And she goes, you boys got to be the first people ever to get kicked out on the last day of the program. And I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do it. And then Ryan looked at me and he's like, yeah, you fucking did. You were egging me on. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. And let me just say, I'm not bragging by any means about hurting somebody because that's fucked. But like, he like slammed me on the ground and he took the whole fall because he like grabbed me from behind, right? And then he like went backwards to slam me on the ground, but we just landed on his left shoulder. Like he took the entire fall. Like my head didn't even hit the ground because I just landed on him. Like literally he got the most hurt in this fight because he slammed on the ground. Then I hit him to get released. The only kind of pain that I had was I couldn't breathe for like literally 4 seconds. So I didn't get hit once. He essentially hurt himself by attacking me. Anyway, so Lisa, or whatever her name was, she ends up calling up my parents and telling them, like, come pick me up because I got kicked out, and his parents, Ryan's. And my mom and my dad both showed up together, and they came in the office before Ryan's parents got there. And my mom goes, Austin, I don't even know what to do with you. Like, this was the last resort. Where am I going to send you now? I can't send you anywhere because you got kicked out of the place that we could send you. And I tried telling her, I was like, look, I didn't want to do that. Like, I was trying to be nice to this dude, and then he got butthurt and started a problem. And she's like, I don't care. Why are you talking to people in class to begin with? You shouldn't be talking to anybody. You should be paying attention, not talking to people. And I was like, yeah, well, still, I was trying to be nice, not fight. And she's like, whatever. And then Ryan's parents showed up, and Ryan's parents were actually really cool. They ended up making friends with my parents, and they were really cool. And me and Ryan were just sitting there after literally attacking each other, just like looking at each other with rage because we didn't like each other very much. And yeah, I had to get in the car and get sent home early because literally on the last day of the program, I got kicked out for fighting. Anyway, I got home, and I remember the whole rest of that day, I was just waiting for David and Justin to get out so I could call them. And I did. When they got out later that night, I called them like in like a group call, and I was like, yo, I got kicked out on the last day. And David's like, yo, I heard that fight was crazy. Like, bro, like he didn't even hurt you. And I was like, I know. And yeah, essentially I just like spent the next like 2 hours talking to them about it and like just, you know, talking about how the last day went with them and stuff. Now, you probably think the story time's over. You probably think, all right, like you went there, you got kicked out, you know, you got your punishment, like whatever, right? Well, no, not really, because I got kicked out on the last day, my mom obviously was very upset with me, and so was my dad. So what ended up happening is they made me go live with my uncle for like a month. And I didn't like my uncle that much. So that kind of sucked. I had to like live somewhere else for a month. So that was kind of ass. Didn't like that very much. I will say, however, like in the grand scheme of things, for how bad of a fuck up that was, like that fire and that whole situation, the punishment I got, it could have been worse still. You know, it could have been way worse. I could have literally went to a juvenile detention center and like gotten arrested and you know, charged and stuff. So the fact I didn't is incredibly lucky, like winning the lottery lucky. But the story time doesn't end there. This story time actually has one of the funniest / like craziest endings, in my opinion, out of many of my stories. So like 5 years later, right? At this point, I'm not even in school anymore. I'm living out in LA, doing YouTube full time. Like, obviously this whole situation was way in the past, right? All this stuff that happened. This was literally back in 7th grade. So I'm not even thinking about it at this point. Well, one night I'm visiting home, right? I came back to New York from LA. I was visiting home because it was my friend's birthday, and he wanted to go to some club. I don't really like clubbing that much, but I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And we're at this club, and we're in this town about 45 minutes away from where I grew up. And this guy DJing is doing a pretty good job, right? Like, he's playing some good music. He's DJing, doing his thing, playing some bangers, playing a lot of shit that I grew up on that I really liked. And I keep looking at him, and I'm like, yo, this guy looks so familiar. Like, why do I know that guy? Like, I swear I've seen him before. And I kept like thinking like, all right, well, maybe I've seen him on Instagram or something. You know, maybe I saw him on like one of my friend's stories or something. Like maybe I just recognize him from Instagram. But then I'm like, nah, I don't think I've ever seen him in a story. Like, who is this guy? And the rest of that night goes by, right? And finally, like the club's closing and we're all leaving and the DJ is walking out with us. He's like going into his car, like packing up his DJ gear. And I just like gave him a compliment. I was like, yo, dude, like sick set. You played some bangers, like good shit. And he's like, thanks, dude. And then he looks at me and kind of like gives me a look of like, I think I know you from somewhere. The same look I was giving him all night. And I was like, you know me from somewhere, don't you? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, I was thinking the same fucking thing. Like, I swear I know you from somewhere. And then right after I said that, it just like hit me. I was like, holy shit, is your name Ryan? And he goes, my name is Ryan. How do you know that? And I was like, dude, I'm Austin. We met at that like program at that prison. And he goes, holy fucking shit. It was literally the dude that I fought at this fucking program, dude. Like he was a DJ at this club. And we both looked at each other and like we're both kind of giving each other that look of like we didn't know whether to like still be mad at each other or like laugh at it. And I couldn't even be mad, bro. I just smiled and I was like, holy shit, dude, small world. He starts laughing. He's like, yo, how have you been? And I was like, good, man. Haven't gone back to prison since that day. And he's like, yeah, man, me too. I guess it worked, I think. And I was like, yeah, man, you're DJing for a club. That's pretty sick. And he's like, yeah, dude, I do the teen nights here. Because the club we were at, we were all teenagers. Like, we were all like 18, 19. So the club that we were at, every, I think, Saturday or Sunday, they would do a teen night. So if you were over 18 but like under 21, you could go and like dance and listen to music and stuff. Obviously, you couldn't drink because, you know, if you're under 21, you can't drink in the States. But it was still a cool thing to do. So yeah, he was telling me that he did like all the teen nights at this club and shit like that. And he was like making money DJing. And I was like, that's so sick, dude. And he goes, bro, I'm sorry I tried to like choke slam you that day. And I was like, it's good, bro. Like, we were kids. Like, it's fine. He's like, nah, dude, like, that was fucked up. I was just having a really bad day. And like, you were just asking me about it. And I was just being shitty, man. And I was like, nah, man, you're good. I shouldn't have like poked my nose in your business, bro. Like, it's fine. He's like, nah, dude, like, it really wasn't even that big of a deal. I should have just told you. And then one of my fucking friends goes, well, tell him now. Tell him now. And I was like, bro, shut up. Like, don't get involved. And this Ryan dude, the DJ, he's like, all right, man, well, my dog passed away like a couple days before that. And I was just still really sad about it. And it kept hitting me in waves. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry to hear that. He's like, it's good, man. I'm fine now. And bro, like, we made up. It was really crazy. Like, we made up 5 years later. And we ended up like dapping each other up. And like, he took a Snapchat with me and like sent it to his mom. And she responded and was like, holy shit, tell him I said hi. It was just really crazy. And we ended up becoming cool. Like, we follow each other now. And like, whenever I'm home and like, if we go to like clubs and stuff, he'll still DJ them. Like, he's still a DJ. He's making good ass money off it. And he DJs clubs in my area. So like, sometimes when I go out, I'll see him around and like, he's really cool. Like, surprisingly, really, really cool. So I don't know. It's not every day where you get to like make friends with somebody that you were an enemy with. So it was pretty cool that that was the outcome of this entire situation. Like, just wild, absolutely insane. But yeah, all in all, in the end, everything was okay. I learned some very valuable lessons, such as don't play with fire. If a fire starts, call 911, obviously. Try your best to avoid fighting people, obviously. Yeah, I don't know, man. Basically, the moral of the story is do not do a single fucking thing that I talked about in this story. Please. I never want to have to hear that any of you end up in a similar situation. That would suck. But yeah, just an absolutely insane chain of events. I could probably make 8 different videos based on the stories that took place in this one video, but I figured I'd drop another hour-long commentary on you guys. You guys seem to like these. So if you guys keep showing the support, I will happily keep doing them, because honestly, I could yap forever. Oh, I completely forgot to mention, before I end this, David and Justin also met the DJ dude like a year later. I went out to a club with them and like I introduced them because he wanted to meet them too. So that was cool. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of the story time. That's it. That's everything. In the end, everything was okay. Besides those trees in the woods, those got charred and burned pretty bad, but they cleared those out pretty quick. Within like a week, those trees were gone and the school was all fixed up. They like redid the side of the school like literally a week later. So in the end, everything was okay. Everybody was good. Definitely could have gone a lot worse. I'm very happy that like we weren't stupid and we called the police, because if we didn't, that could have been way more damage. We're also really lucky that our school was made of brick, because if the school wasn't made of brick, it probably could have burned down very easily. So yeah, shout out to that, I guess. But yeah, that is the story of how me and my friends accidentally started a little forest fire and accidentally lit my old elementary school on fire a little bit and had to go to a correctional facility for 7 days. And I got into a fight there and all the other stuff that happened in this story. Like I said, a bunch of shit. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.
I got a switchblade, bitch, and you know that it kills. I remember